think back to when you were a kid eating your breakfast cereal, what memories come to mind? What I remember most is being engaged by the back of the cereal box. There were puzzles, games, and fun characters to entertain me. However, today, I'm not interested in fun and games on the back of the box. I am interested in knowing more about my food, where it's from, and how it's made. And I'm not alone. In a survey of over 3,000 consumers conducted last summer by Trace1, 62% of respondents said they were not provided with enough information about what was in their food and where it came from. 27% said they did not trust the information on food product labels. So the question is, how are you going to better inform and educate consumers about your products? Today, Team Clarity is going to prove that you need to start incorporating technology into your packaging so you can provide consumers with the abundance of information they seek and in turn earn their trust. I would like to take a moment and introduce you to Team Clarity. Starting on my right, Kurt Seipert, Unified Grocers, Pam Brandt, Costco Wholesale, Consuelo Ramos, Food for Less, Ernie Mathis, Bristol Farms, Tim Mahoney, Gelson Markets, and myself, Heidi Bertinelli, King's Hawaiian Bakery. So what information does the consumer want? Well, it extends far beyond a list of ingredients. They want to know if their food is locally produced. Does it have GMOs? Is it nutritious and safe? They want to know the working conditions of your plants, how the people are treated. Do they receive fair wages? Simply put, they want transparency in all of these areas and more. More than ever, consumers are making demands that have never been seen in our industry. They want access to relevant information when they want it in a clear, convenient, and understandable way so they can make informed purchase decisions. As manufacturers and retailers, we need to find a way to engage consumers, build trust, and align with these growing needs. What's more convenient than the moment they pick up your product? With technology, you don't have to restrict yourself to the limited space on the package. You need to imagine an experience that reaches the consumer digitally, where the packaging on your product opens the door to begin the conversation. By thinking outside of the box, you can provide transparency to the consumer and answer all of their questions about what's in their food, where it's from, and how it's made. It's time to make your packaging stand apart, be memorable, and engage consumers, like the cereal box did when you were a kid. Today, we're going to discuss the evolving trends among consumers that is making transparency a must in our industry. New technologies that allow you to directly connect with consumers and provide the information they seek. The early adopters starting to utilize these technologies within our industry. And lastly, the technology we recommend and the ROI benefits. So I ask you, when you go shopping, do you want to know what's in your food, where it's from, how it's made?
I want to know if the food I buy for my family is healthy and safe. I look at the grocery labels for serving size, trans fat, and sodium content. I used to buy food because it tasted good, but now I buy it because it's good for me. According to Deloitte, a study found many consumers has also changed the way they buy food. Historically, the traditional drivers, price, taste, and convenience, have been the main drivers of consumer purchasing, but some other elements have come to the center of consumer shopping. According to Deloitte, traditional drivers remain unbroken, but evolving drivers, health and wellness, safety, social impact, and experience are becoming more important in the mind of the consumer. The data shows, the statistics shows the trends grows from 2007 to 2013. By 2015, many consumers shows that the evolving drivers are wrapped and increase the desire for knowledge and transparency. According to Deloitte, said, evolving drivers are moving faster. Regions and age are equally important across all groups. This means consumer purchase decisions process has changed in a major way. 42%, according to Adweek study, 42% said the consumer report the way they select food has changed. 76% check out the ingredients. 51% look where the food comes from. 41% are concerned about animal welfare, and 23% look for the food's social impact. This data shows, just the same as me, consumers are paying attention to the information on the packaging, not finding that information can possibly delay or stop them from purchasing your product. Now let's talk about how a FIM pack-up technology can provide them the information they are looking for.
Just as a fun pack of cereal can provide choices, we have 4 technologies that can give transparency to the consumer, but one has exceptional promise. Digital relationships today are being built through technology, and the grocery industry needs to provide product content during the path to purchase. QR codes revolutionized the UPC and allowed mobile web access. Today, this technology is being utilized because it's affordable, but it's not always user-friendly. And consequently, only 22% of the consumers are scanning these QR codes today. A similar technology is near-field communication. That's when you take your smartphone, scan over the magnetic tag, and get an instant transfer magnetically without using an application. This technology, the tags are costly, but they can be rewritten and replaced. They can also be hidden under graphics. So let's look at the next technology in our fun pack to engage the consumer. Augmented reality. I have a video here from General Mills that I'd like you to watch on augmented reality and what they've done with their packaging. So augmented reality interacts with the world around you. It layers graphics over what you see and allows you to connect to a brand. Today, in our industry, it's being used for marketing campaigns, for coupons, for recipes, but we see it as an opportunity to communicate integrity. So as augmented reality continues to map images, it will gain popularity. But we see that augmented reality, near-field communication, and QR codes will never be able to will not be capable to reduce friction at the register like watermarking. So watermarking has this added benefit. Please take a moment to watch this video and get a better understanding.
There's a new dimension being added to your customer's shopping experience. Digimarc invisible barcodes are making every item an interactive link. The entire surface of a package is now a barcode, invisible to the human eye. Now on every package, your customer can go to a whole new universe of nutrition information, how-to videos, menu suggestions, recipes, customer loyalty rewards, even digital coupons. The Digimarc barcode is automatically applied to any label printed in your store as well, so it works with any variable priced item. But the real benefit comes at checkout. Since every item is covered with the Digimarc barcode, you no longer need to find the UPC to point it at the scanner. Multiple items can be scanned at once, dramatically increasing your items per minute.
So watermarking imprints barcodes all over the package that are invisible to the eye. This embedded data can be done on each individual barcode, which allows for the consumer to have a deeper connection to the product and foods that they're eating.
So today, you're seeing this technology being used in magazines for, supplemental content, also as a security for photos, music, and videos. But we believe that the consumer today wants a digital experience during their shopping journey, and this would provide it. So now, let's look at the Breakfast of Champions that are using this technology or using some of these technologies in their business today.
Our private label products are vital in championing sales with consumers. In a recent FMI study, 2 out of 3 shoppers surveyed said private label was an important factor in choosing their primary store. And other statistics show private label now accounts for 20% of total store sales. And as you can see from this slide behind me, in a customer's path to purchase, nutrition also plays a vital role in selling private label products to our consumers. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe, and our team believes, that our private label products as retailers will be vital to communicate transparency and clarity to the consumer. And those retailers who adopt this and begin down this path of providing it to their customers will have a long-term competitive advantage. So let's talk for a minute about some of the early adopters in our industry who have already headed down this path. Wegmans and New Seasons have signed agreements to begin watermarking their private label products. In discussions our team had with their company representatives, these companies are founded on defining trust with the consumer and the products they sell. They have gone down this path of beginning to watermark each private label product they sell to communicate to the customer clarity and transparency. CPG companies, Pam showed us a video of General Mills. Others who are involved in this technology are Kraft Heinz, PepsiCo, Quaker, and Coca-Cola. Each of these companies has used augmented reality to engage the consumer with their brand. And as we said, primarily it's being used for entertainment purposes or for communicating promotional offers. But our team believes that this technology could also be used to communicate clarity and transparency to the consumer and their brands. Finally, I'd like to talk about the industry disruptors and the online shopping threat from Amazon. Recently, Amazon announced plans to begin their own private label called Amazon Elements. They've sought trademark protection for over 20 items. And they've currently launched with a couple of items on their website. One of these items is Amazon baby wipes. When a consumer orders this product, it shows up at their home. It has a QR code on the package that they can scan. And what the consumer will see is each ingredient that is part of the package, part of the product, why that ingredient is in the product, as well as where the product was produced. Also, Amazon says, listen to the experts, make the right choices, and share the whole story. This was taken off their website, and I encourage you all, if you haven't been there already, to go out and investigate further. But Amazon is seeing the need to communicate transparency and clarity to their consumers and are taking steps to address it with their private label. So we came in this room today to talk about the future of our industry. It's had a bright history, and it's going to have an even more bright future. Those retailers and CPG companies who engage their consumers and their brands through these technologies to provide clarity and transparency will have a significant competitive advantage into the future. So, when I was a kid, I couldn't wait to get the prize out of the cereal box. Let's talk for a minute about that prize and the potential ROI for your company.
So you've heard about QR codes, near-field communication, and augmented reality, and their benefits. The goal is to provide transparency for those three technologies, but because of the improved cashier efficiency on the front end, watermarking is our recommendation for an investment. Now, your labor savings created from watermarking is probably going to be the biggest benefit. And also, with scan testing data we researched over time, the average number of items scanned per minute with traditional barcodes is about 21. Adding watermarking solutions to your barcodes into your packages increase that number by 20 to 30% on average. Now, this model represents a few key factors based on labor costs, scanning labor costs, and items per minute. The initial investment varies and will be about $300 per SKU for your ROI factor. Now, the efficiency graph shows that with full implementation of watermarking on your private label brands, your companies can expect to see a 70% return on their investment after just 1 year. Now, Kurt mentioned Wegmans as one of the early adopters. And after speaking to one of their representatives, they expect to see a $2 million savings in labor costs alone. And that's only projecting a 10% increase in items per minute. So CPG companies, you're probably wondering, what's in it for you? Why should you invest in watermarking? Well, as you know, the packaging landscape is quickly evolving. Adding watermarking solutions to your packaging allows you to stay ahead of future trends and still maintain your brand's clean look and design. What's even better is that your companies will enjoy the new interactive technology that will deliver transparent experiences to consumer smartphones and other devices. So CPG companies, what are you waiting for? Now's the time to invest in watermarking. So let's hear a little bit more about how your companies can embrace this new technology and Team Clarity's recommendations for action.
So let's summarize what we've talked about today. At the beginning of our discussion, we talked about consumer demands and how many CPG companies and retailers simply aren't meeting those demands. We talked about the consumer shopping patterns changing and consumer decision-making changing based upon the information they can or they cannot get from your packaging. So the question is, how are you, as a company, going to start thinking outside the box you currently operate within to deliver that transparency, engage your consumer, and earn their trust? We then talked about the 4 different technologies that are available to address this transparency issue. We gave you information on all 4 of them and gave you some limitations on some of them. We then talked about the early adopters, those companies that are racing ahead of the curve to be more transparent to the consumers, further engage them, and differentiate themselves from the competition. That's you. We then went further. We did some research. And our recommendation on watermarking is based on 2 factors. 1, it provides the transparency the consumer desires. And 2, it provides front-end efficiencies. Then we gave you our best estimate on your return of investment into this technology. So is this a difficult decision for you? Absolutely. But you're going to have to make some decisions on your next steps. So what might those steps look like? Well, first, you should be contacting your trade groups. Have them make connections with technology companies that your company needs. Be an early adopter. Create a strategic alliance with a partner while the synergies are still growing. Those companies that wait risk losing market share to a competitor who saw the future for what it is, a reality check by consumers. You should have an integrated plan and a budget to support this plan. It's not a matter of if you're going to adopt this technology or one of them, but when. Think of the possibilities of connecting to your consumer on a deeper level just based on them looking at your packaging. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been given a roadmap to the future and what it will look like. And this topic should be at the top of your agenda for the upcoming WAFC convention just around the corner. You should be discussing this in your business meetings with those companies to develop technologies that your companies can work with. There are companies in this room today that will take that next transformational step to further engage your consumer, create memories, have their package stand apart, just like that cereal box did when you were a kid. Don't be left behind. We thank you for your time and your attention. We'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Nice job. 2 questions. One is, with the watermarking, does that eliminate the need to have the visible UPC code on the package? And then secondly, do you know of any manufacturers outside of private label that are testing the watermarking?
So with the watermarking and regards to the UPC being removed, it would probably be a long time down the road before a UPC would be removed. Eventually, that could be possible because, again, it is UPC that's covering the entire box. And as well, the only testing that we know of today is with private label. Sorry?
Well, you guys are pretty smooth up there. You know, it appears that you have looked at CPG companies and packaging. It would appear to me that consumers are more concerned about transparency on fresh products, where they're from, who are the manufacturers, do they use pesticides and everything else. Did you guys look into the fresh part of the grocery store to discuss the subject of transparency with the consumer?
Did I take it or me? Go ahead. So yes, the watermarking can be utilized in all areas of the grocery and the fresh as well. So it can be in the variable label with the meat department. Produce at this point would not be watermarked. We wouldn't be able to do that. Does that answer your question?
Well, how do you address transparency in the fresh as a portion of the store? With the consumer, they have these concerns. What do you think the industry should do about fresh?
Well, on the variable label, it can hold a watermark on that. So your meat labels, your bakery labels, service deli labels could all be equipped to have watermarking that could identify, where that product came from, what that product is. So when the consumer scanned that watermark, they would get the information you're talking about. The issue would be, I think, that we haven't addressed or haven't found a solution for at this point in time is the produce, because it comes in its own natural package and it doesn't make sense to put another label on there at this time.